Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I am bringing another book news video. I really like watching YouTubers who cover book news because I think that it should be treated the same as film news or television news or other entertainment news. I think book news needs to be more important in BookTube, and I specifically cover the tie-in area of books. So I talk about Star Wars, Star Trek, Halo, other parts, anything that ties into properties I like following. I don't discuss all of them here, but as I slowly work hard on learning more about tie-in fiction, I'm trying to get more involved with all of those news. And so I have a few pieces of news that I'm going to bring today. And some of the pieces were expected. Some of them were a bit of a surprise. One of them is a huge deal in the publishing industry. And I will get right to that first. So to begin with, my first topic is the news that Random House is launching a new imprint known as Random House Worlds. Specifically, the biggest part of their news is that they will be moving the Star Wars and other media tie-in fiction publishing from Del Rey and other Random House associates and moving it all squarely into Random House Worlds, while Del Rey will focus on original content instead. And let me read to you what the announcement from Random House said. Random House, a division of Penguin Random House, announced today the launch of Random House Worlds, a new publishing imprint dedicated entirely to licensing book publishing. This newly created imprint will be the home for major pop culture brands to be published within the Random House division, including Star Wars, Minecraft, Stranger Things, Garfield, Magic the Gathering, Lore Olympus, Critical Role, and others. Keith Clayton, VP Deputy Publisher of Del Rey, will now also lead the Random House Worlds imprint as Publishing Director. The premier licensed brands that have been successfully published by Del Rey and other imprints under the Random House division will now migrate their front list and backlist titles to the new Random House Worlds imprint starting in 2023. Under this streamlined structure, Random House Worlds will offer a single home for partners to bring their prime pop culture brands, any genre and any format, from novels to cookbooks to coloring books and beyond. Books published under the Random House Worlds imprint will enrich and expand partners' worlds beyond their original source material, helping to grow a popular brand into a multimedia universe and offering fans a deeply immersive experience into their favorite worlds. The Random House Worlds team will also work hand in hand with Clarkson's Potter's world-class gift and design team to develop licensed gift and paper products to be published under the Potter imprint, such as journals, puzzles, games, tarot, and more. Here's a quote they have in the article. It says, Clayton said, with a unified publication strategy encompassing multiple formats and genres, the Random House Worlds approach will enable us to have one conversation with readers, retailers, and partners, delivering best-in-class service to licensors and the highest quality content to passionate fandoms. And the announcement goes on to list everyone who will be working on the Random House team. I won't get into all of it, but on the Star Wars The Del Rey Books Collection page, they did an FAQ, and the biggest news there was, it said, is the Del Rey Star Wars team changing? And they said, the team isn't going anywhere. Our new home will be Random House Worlds, but it's still the same crew behind the books. We are simply rebranding under a new name. This is a huge, monumental shift in the publishing industry, and I will say it is, on the whole, overall, a good shift. I have a few problems with this shift, and I'll get into those towards the end, but as a whole, like almost everything I can say about this is a positive move. For too long, media tie-in fiction has been treated as the back of the bus of publishing. For a while, Star Trek books were only published as mass markets. It was so hard, and whenever they did do a hardcover, it was either as a big movie tie-in, or it was because a big author like William Shatner was jumping in, or because it was just a huge risk that they were taking. And there are other tie-in brands that suffered similar issues. The only one that really stood above and beyond was Star Wars, which has, for the most part, been hardcover through and through. There were some bouts where the X-Wing series and some of the New Jedi Order books were paperbacks, but as a whole, they've been hardcovers, and they've been treated real well. But this move by Random House shows a marked difference in opinion from the publisher. It means they're taking it seriously. It means they are devoting an entire imprint to this. For example, Star Wars has been under Del Rey for the last 23 years, roughly, since about 1999. And so, as such, Del Rey published their own original books, mostly fantasy sci-fi books, and then they also published Star Wars. Now, the Star Wars books have been successful, and they've helped Del Rey out in slumps, and sometimes they've been unsuccessful, and Del Rey has helped out on that front, so it's evened each other out. But they've had both there. But the problem was that Del Rey didn't have exactly a good identity. They were publishing a wide swath of content. Recently, they've been even delving into horror with authors like Chuck Wendig and Delilah Dawson. So Del Rey was really starting to develop an identity crisis as an imprint. And so now Del Rey will be focused entirely on the genre original content that they've been doing, and the Star Wars stuff is moving to this Random House Publishing Worlds imprint that they have, and I think this is good because it's going to put dedication to that imprint. The people working at this imprint are going to be laser focused on this stuff. Of course, we've had Star Wars editors at Del Rey who have been devoted to Star Wars, but the whole team behind it, it's going to be very particular. They're going to work very hard to expand their content, and I think that there's going to be a lot of more announcements about tie-in and licensed products through this Random House Worlds imprint soon. And so this is a very good move for the industry. I think that there needs to be more of this. I think that Tor or Orbit would both benefit from doing this, getting an imprint that deals solely with licensed products so that they could do video game and book tie-ins. You know, I think that there's been ample opportunity for them to make novels for Sid Meier's Civilization games. That I think that would be bizarre and utterly fun. I think that Tor would do a good job with that. I think that other video games like the Guild 2 Renaissance could also benefit from novels, and I think that Tor or Orbit would be good publishers of that as well. And so I think that this is a step for the publishing industry, and while Random House is the big gorilla in town, I think that this is a good wake-up call to take this industry seriously. And I hope that more publishers will move in this direction, dedicate entire imprints to this. However, I do have a few caveats of problems I have. First problem is this is going to be yet another logo change on the spines of Star Wars books. If you've been keeping up with the Star Wars books, just the adult books, don't even bring in the YA, or just talk about the adult novels, the spines keep changing, and it looks bad that they can't have a logo and stick with it. And I think that this overall, I think most readers are able to understand this and keep up with this, but I think it could be confusing. And now by changing the name entirely, you know, what worked really well was when you had the image of Random House itself on the spine, and then the words Del Rey underneath. You knew it was Del Rey publishing an imprint of Random House. They worked hand in hand really well together. But then there were times where it said Del Rey Ballantine. That was a bit confusing when they were conjoined. And then you also had when Del Rey, it just said Del Rey on the spine, and then there was the time where they changed it most recently where it just had the circle with Del Rey in the middle, and so they can't choose a consistent logo. And I think that with this Random House Worlds imprint, they need to make this logo and not change it for 20 years, because this is so annoying that they have to keep changing the logos. Maybe I'm the only person who's annoyed by that, but it really irks me that they don't have the same spine. And other publishers do this too. I'd say that Pocketbooks for Simon & Schuster was really consistent for quite a while, but even they have had minor changes. Tor has changed the logo but kept the spirit of the logo the same for the most part. So I do like Tor's handling of their logo as well, but Del Rey, they have no consistency, and they really need to fix that. Especially when you have longevity series like Terry Brooks's Shannara series. Those have gone through incredible logo changes throughout the years. So anyway, I could keep going on that subject, but overall, it is a very good news for all sorts of media tie-in fiction in general, and I am really excited to see what they bring. They are keeping the same team involved, which I think is overall a good thing, that they're not having to switch anything up. I know that Tom Holler has been really taken over a lot of the Star Wars publishing recently. I really like him as an editor. I've listened to some of his interviews. I like his methodology. Elizabeth Schaefer, who was the Star Wars editor at one point, she's still involved. I think she's going to be in charge of everything, if I understand correctly, and she'll stay involved as well. Let's go on to the next piece of news, which is a much smaller but very cool piece of news, and that is the new cover alert for a Star Wars book, which is The Princess and the Scoundrel. This is the new Star Wars novel by Beth Revis. I will display the artwork here. I am very excited about this. In this artwork, you can see Han and Leia very much letting you know the tone of the book as a romance. You also have, in the bottom left corner, you have the Ewok village set, which looks very nice, and it blends into this kind of wintry set with a tall tower, which I have many questions about. And also you see some stormtroopers in the bottom right, and then of course in the towards the top you can see the Halcyon cruiser. I really like this cover reveal because it seems like it's a blend of classic feeling Star Wars cover arts with modern cover arts. Some of the classics that this reminds me of course, this book was in general going to evoke this anyway, but this reminds me a lot of the artwork for the original artwork, the good artwork for the novel The Courtship of Princess Leia, which the book wasn't that great, but the cover art for the original I really liked. And then this also evokes some of the original cover art from some of the Barbara Hambly Star Wars novels. But it also kind of has that brushstroke style that Master and Apprentice used recently, that I really liked that cover art style as well. So overall, I really like this cover. I am excited to see this. I want them to move away from the more realistic covers that they had, like with the Alphabet Squadron books, and also the Thrawn books were unique, but they were too stylized. They weren't enough of a painting. I want my cover arts to be paintings, something I could hang up in my in my room. So anyway, I do like this cover art. It is very good, and I'm excited about it. Moving on to the next piece of news is going to Star Trek now. We have some unfortunate news, which is that The High Country by John Jackson Miller, one of my most anticipated books of the year, has been pushed back to February 2023. This was confirmed both at Amazon and at Barnes & Noble, if you look up the book from them, and also the author himself, John Jackson Miller, did confirm it on his Facebook page. And this is very frustrating. I first want to read you what John said when someone commented on it on his page, and he said, "Yeah, it's entirely the paper shortage. It's my longest novel yet, and a huge release. So they've got to go when there's enough paper supply guaranteed for the whole print run. But hidden in there is good news. More novel, same price." And I am very frustrated with this because the novel had only been announced a few weeks before at one of the Star Trek conventions in Chicago, that they were launching the book in November. So it was, and then a few weeks later, not even a full month, just a few weeks later, they announce that it's been pushed back. So something happened just in those few weeks that to tell them that they were going to have printing issues and they needed to push it 3 months. That doesn't add up to me. That's very frustrating. And to me, it's like, did you not know you were going to have to use that much paper beforehand? It's Star Trek books. We always have Star Trek books coming out. They've been decreasing them for some time, which is frustrating. But it's a Star Trek book. When you announce the book, you know generally how long it's going to be, and you also know how many copies you're going to print of it, probably, because they print so many Star Trek books, they know how they sell. So it can't be a surprise. Oh my goodness, this novel's so long. Yeah, I'm very frustrated by that. And if that was the case, if we are experiencing publishing issues, why not wait to make the announcement until you've finished the book and you know for sure it is coming out in November? I wish they had simply waited, not announced anything at the Chicago convention, and instead announced it when they knew they were going to have to push it, and just in the first place said it's coming out in February. If they had done that, it would be like, all right, we've got to come in February. But before, it feels like you're yanking our chain. You're telling us, yeah, this new thing's coming. Oh wait, well maybe not. It's not coming. You should have known better, Gallery Books. You knew there was a paper shortage. So I'm very frustrated by this news. And of course, this is still one of my most anticipated books, so I will of course read it as soon as it comes out. But if it's exclusively for paper issues, I have questions for whoever's in charge of that. That seems very shady, announcement-wise. And then the last piece of news that I will discuss today is it's kind of news, but I can't. It's really confusing. I saw this according to Fantastic Fiction, which is a website I use for a lot of book news in general, which lists a new Star Trek book for Dayton Ward for the Star Trek Discovery line. The title, according to Fantastic Fiction, is New Horizons. Now, when you look at Fantastic Fiction, it gives you a January release date. But when you click on the link, it gives you a May release date. And I looked at a couple of other links, and they both oscillated between January and May. And I couldn't find any official announcements from any other pages, like the gallery page, or from Amazon, that gave anything specific either. So this one, I'm not sure. It makes total sense. Dayton Ward's always writing a Star Trek novel. I don't think in the last 20 years he's had any period of time where he's not been thinking about Star Trek. So I am very excited. Also, I know he did write a Star Trek novel for Discovery a few years ago, and that was one of his most reviewed books on Goodreads. So it most likely sold well for him. So I'm hoping that this one will sell well for him, because he's a very hard Star Trek worker. I like the effort that he puts into his books. So I'm excited for this, but I just want concrete announcements, January or May. But don't announce it until you know which one it is. Don't tell us January and then yank it to May because of printing issues. That's frustrating. And I think that my issue with the publishing issues is that if we were getting like a new Star Trek novel every month, it would be fine, because all right, well, we've got everything else happening. But they decreased every year, just about. The last several years, we saw a marked decrease in the number of novels published. And then in 2021, it went back to like 9 books, and it was super exciting. And then they went down to, now this year, unless there's a change, we're only going to get 2 novels. We're just going to get the Harm's Way novel by David Mack, which is an original series novel, and we're going to get a new Picard novel. We're not going to get any Discovery novels in 2022, no Strange New Worlds novels, even though the TV show is coming out, which is frustrating. There's no Voyager, no Next Generation, no DS9, no Enterprise novels. There are no other new novels other than the 2 that I just mentioned in 2022. That is abysmal work, Gallery. You need to pick up the pace. So you have some really wonderful news on the Random House front, and Gallery's been slipping slipping recently. It looks like 2023 will probably have a few more books from Star Trek, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not necessarily going to fall for it again. So be more careful, gallery. So this has been a new edition of book news from my channel. Which of these pieces of book news was most interesting to you? Which is your favorite? What do you think of the new cover? Let me know all that down below. Are you excited for the new Star Trek novels that were announced? Let me know everything down in the comments down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.